In this all-digital streaming age, one thing that has become quite prevalent is the act of binge-watching movies and shows. Services like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Max put the entirety of shows like Community, Phineas and Ferb, and Friends right at your fingertips, making it super easy to watch the whole series with just the click of a button. But today, I'm here to tell you that you're binge-watching shows wrong, and how you can not only binge better, but also enjoy the shows you watch a whole lot more. Before I jump into the video, though, I want to know what shows you've binge-watched, which you can do by dropping a comment down below. Now, you might be thinking, I binge-watch shows all the time, and I have no issues whatsoever. You may think that's true, but I can assure you that it's probably not. Binge-watching a show is all fine and dandy until you finish every episode of Friends in 39 days and realize that you don't really remember anything about it. Let me break down some reasons why binge watching is actually hurting your experience of watching shows. First off, when you binge an entire season of a show at once, you can sometimes lose anticipation for the show itself. Think about it. When you watch a show and you have to wait a full week to find out what happens next, your anticipation builds up and you get excited to watch the newest episode when it drops. Now, compare that to binge watching. A big climactic moment happens, your anticipation builds, and then is immediately satisfied by that next episode button. This instant gratification might be great in the moment, but it also robs you of the ability to speculate about what's going to happen next. Building off that, binge watching can lessen your opportunities to discuss and speculate with fellow fans of whatever show you're watching. This point doesn't apply to older shows as much as it does new ones, since there's not really a whole bunch of people to speculate about Friends with unless you're watching it with friends. Just kidding, I know you don't have any of those. Some of my personal favorite show experiences are when I got to speculate on what was going to happen in the new episode next week alongside of a bunch of other fans, which is just something you can't do while binge watching. Speaking of speculation and discussion, binge watching shortens the lifespan of shows by a lot. For example, when Stranger Things Season 4 dropped last year, everyone talked about it for a few weeks and then moved on to the next cool hip thing. Why? Because Netflix decided to drop all the episodes at once, which meant people finished it in one day and were ready to move on. Compare this to a show like The Mandalorian or Demon Slayer. Both shows air weekly and spread their discussion and hype across several weeks. The gap in between episodes gives fans time to digest what happened, theorize with their fellow fans, and then be ready for the next episode when it drops the following week. Another, and I would argue the biggest issue with binge watching, is a lack of enjoyment for the media itself and the passion that went into creating it. As you probably know, TV shows can take a long time to make, and the people who make them put their blood, sweat, and tears into the final project so that you can enjoy it. Next thing they know, you've finished all of Stranger Things Season 4 in a day, and you're already asking for more. Watching shows weekly, or even at a slower pace, gives you the time to truly appreciate how great a TV show can be. By binge watching, you might miss out on subtle character developments, a long-running background gag, or even just the work that goes into lighting and shot composition. Now, with those cons out of the way, before I get into how you can improve your binge watching experience, I want to make an exception to everything I just said. Binge watching can absolutely hurt your enjoyment of a new show, either new to you or a new release, but I think it's perfectly fine if you're rewatching a show. Who is watching TV on a freaking loudspeaker outside? If I'm rewatching The Office for the 10th time, it doesn't matter if I miss things since I've seen it before. There's also no sense of urgency to discuss with fans or speculation to be had since I already know how everything plays out. I've been rewatching Lego Ninjago this year, and most of the time it's playing in the background while I work on videos like this. For me personally, rewatching shows is the equivalent of turning on a podcast or a YouTube video. It's really just background noise to keep me company while working or doing chores. With that exception, here's the best way I've found to improve your binge watching experience. First off, watch more shows, and by that I mean a lot more shows. This will be important in the next step. As an anime fan, I find myself usually watching anywhere from 2 to 8 shows at a time, and that's just to keep up with the seasonal shows. You might think that's a lot. How do you keep up with everything? Let me tell you, I don't. This brings me to the next step. Don't worry about being caught up with everything. When I'm watching 8 shows at once, I usually have 1 or 2 that I stay caught up with, ready to watch every episode the day it drops. For me right now, it's Horimiya Season 2 and Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. Every other show, I watch it when I have time. This attitude has shifted my mindset and is what allows me to watch 8 shows at once. This also means I tend to get behind on quite a few shows, which feeds into the third and final step: binge watch in chunks. Over the summer, I got caught up with work and didn't find the time to watch Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 every Thursday, so I ended up getting about 3 episodes behind. Once I knew I was behind, I sat down and watched all 3 episodes in one go, which yields the best aspects of binging and weekly watching. I get the satisfaction of immediately knowing what happens next, but once I'm caught up, I can start theorizing and discussing with other fans since we're all on the same page. I apply this same strategy to shows that drop all their episodes at once, aka most Netflix shows, or shows that have already finished airing. For something like The Dragon Prince, I usually watch 3 episodes, then force myself to stop and wait about a week before watching the next 3, so on and so forth until I finish it. This method of binge watching has radically changed the way I enjoy shows, and I actually remember them a lot better than I do when I binge watch the traditional way. With that being said, that is my advice on how you can improve your binge watching experience. I encourage you to try this method out and let me know in the comments if it worked for you or not. Now, if you're a big TV show watcher, then you should check out this video where I talk about Serialized, the app that will change the way that you track your favorite shows.